Welcome to this week's episode of our series Investigation Exodus. We're digging deeper into the history of the Exodus story. We're taking you back in time to see what really happened. This week, I have two guests. The first, Aaron, the brother of Moses, who helped him deal with Pharaoh and lead the Israelites. The second is a return visit from Moses to tell us more about the journey of his people. But first, our storyteller Turner Page has more to tell us about these brothers. Over to you, Turner.
Hello, I'm Turner Page. When the people had been wandering for some time, the whole group, thousands of people, made a camp at the base of Mount Sinai, in the wilderness of Sinai. They made this camp because they were going to stay in the area for a while. Mount Sinai is where they would meet God more closely. They would stay and experience God's presence for some time. God met Moses on Mount Sinai. God told Moses many things on the mountain about how the Israelites should behave. After receiving the rules from God, Moses came down the mountain and shared everything with the elders. Then shared all God had said with all the people. Moses shared the 10 Commandments with the people. They were not written down, but spoken by Moses to the whole camp. And the whole camp agreed to live by those commandments. Then Moses continued to share more details of God's rules. God's presence remained on Mount Sinai. There was a cloud covering the mountain. Thunder and lightning from the cloud kept the attention of the Israelites, and they were in awe of God. After Moses had told the people everything, and they had celebrated by worshiping God at the base of the mountain, God called Moses to come back up the mountain to receive stone tablets with the commandments written on them. So Moses headed back up the mountain. Moses was gone a long time, a very long time. Because the cloud of God's presence remained on the mountain, the people soon began to think that Moses was never coming down again. They turned to Aaron, Moses' brother, who had helped bring the people out of Egypt. They asked Aaron to give them a God to worship, since they no longer thought that Yahweh and Moses were with them. Aaron agreed to create an idol to worship. He asked everyone to bring him their gold jewelry, which he had melted down and made into a golden calf. He put it on an altar, and the whole of Israel worshipped and celebrated. This was only about 40 days after promising to keep God's commandments. The golden calf broke the first two, which said Yahweh would be their only God, and they would not make any idols. How quickly they lost faith. God saw what they were doing and sent Moses back down the mountain. Moses was so upset and angered by what the people had done, he threw down the stone tablets God had given, with the commandments written on them. They smashed into pieces, and then the people realized what they had done.
My first guest today is Aaron. Aaron's the brother of Moses. Aaron was the person God used to help Moses with speaking to Pharaoh and the Israelite people. He's also the person who was involved in an event that separated the Israelite people from Yahweh for a time. Thank you for joining us today, Aaron. You are probably best known to our audience for creating a golden calf with your people. Can you tell us what happened that day? Why did you do it?
You know, people don't understand the pressure I was under. My brother Moses was leading a great nation of people. He expected me to be always ready to speak for him, to help him get the attention of the people, to make sure they heard what God wanted to share. But Moses wasn't there. The people kept looking to me. It was great for him. He got to talk to God one-on-one. Me, I got left trying to help the people be calm and patient. And you know, that wasn't an easy job. One day they came to me asking for reassurance. I had to help them and couldn't think of any other way. They needed something they could see, touch, feel. They just didn't want to see a cloud or thunder up in the mountaintop.
What did you hope would happen?
Well, I hope by having something to do, something for them to focus on, the people would remain calm. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way. I asked them if they would bring me all their gold. So they ran to their tents, they brought it back to me, I took it, I melted it down, and I created this huge golden calf. It was a symbol they would know from Egypt. They could see it having great strength, but unfortunately things got out of hand. They seemed to forget all about Yahweh and Moses. They danced and celebrated, never thought once about what Yahweh had done for us. I wanted them to have something to look to when Moses wasn't there. I didn't really think it through and probably made an unwise decision.
I realized Moses had been up on the mountain with God for quite some time, but why did you give up on Moses and God?
Well, it wasn't that I gave up on Moses or God, but the rest of the people, like myself, were growing patient. Why was Moses up there so long? Why did he leave us alone? It was like Moses and God had this secret club, and no one else was allowed in. We were all left behind. What if Moses didn't come back? What if he died up there? God has never spoken to me directly. Would I be expected to do the same things that Moses did? I was sure that I would never be able to fill Moses' shoes. I had to give the people something they could see, not something they were terrified to look at. God was so awesome that only Moses could be in conversation. The golden calf, it gave us something that seemed so much easier to understand. We could see it, we could touch it, it was there. You know, God may have done some miracles for us, but they were all through Moses, and he was nowhere to be found.
Has your view of Moses and of God changed since all this happened?
You know, I've come to realize that trusting God is always better. God has always been with us on our journey. God has provided us with all we need. God is still bigger than we can understand. That is the hard part to really comprehend. Moses has a special relationship with God. That is why he's the leader. But I am learning that when I am faithful, I have a closer relationship with God too. When I trust, even if I don't understand, I can feel God's presence.
Sounds like this was quite an experience growing and learning for you. Thank you for sharing with us today, Aaron. Back with us again is Moses. So great to have a chance to speak with you again, Moses. Much has happened since we met at that burning bush. We just spoke with Aaron about the making of the golden calf. How did that event affect you? What was going through your mind when you saw the celebrations about this golden calf?
I was devastated when I came down the mountain to find the people celebrating around this golden calf idol. I'd already shared with the people of God all the commandments of God. They knew that they should not make idols. They knew that they were to be faithful to Yahweh. I was so disappointed that they had barely received the commandments and already were breaking them. If I am honest, I felt like a failure. I'd been leading these people, but the minute I was not around, they seemed lost. What had I done wrong?
Aaron told us that he created the calf because the people had lost hope that you would return from being with God. Why were you so long with Yahweh?
I know he says he thought I was dead, because I was away so long. I was on the mountain with Yahweh so long because Yahweh was telling me all that we, God's people, needed to do to remain faithful. I was learning about serving God as a person, as a community, and I came down and I realized I needed to make sure that there were leaders ready to take over from me, who would be faithful to what God wanted.
You received the stone tablets of the commandments from God that day. Why did you break them?
By breaking the stone tablets was because the people had already broken them. It was a symbol of what they had done. I admit I was so angry that I needed to do something. It seemed that it might show them what they had done. I also wanted to cry. I was sad for the people because they seemed so lost. God was with them, but they didn't notice.
How How do you feel now? Are you still angry with Aaron and with the people?
I'm no longer angry with Aaron and the people. I realize that they still need a leader to show them God is with them. I know it will always be that way. It is hard to trust a God who is bigger, greater than anything you can see, describe. As long as I am able, I will train others to teach and share that God is with us always.
Two brothers, one journey, but so much learning and struggle to trust in God. The Israelite people were blessed to have such leadership. Until next time, this is Sandy Rhodes for Investigation Exodus.